Now I know what you're thinking. Is he about to do it? Yes, he is. Big Black Crypto is about to give y'all what y'all want, which is a thorough appraisal and evaluation of Holochain's future in regards to its 2021 outlook and finish, 2025 and 2030 beyond. I think it's grossly undervalued because nobody ever really reviews it with a thorough, in-depth perspective of what it stands to offer the market sectors that it's placed itself in. Like, this is a web hosting powerhouse. This is the same P2P proprietary software like that has enabled Tron to see a 0.08, an 8 cent value per unit, and that's CAD. Now when we talk about Holochain is a 0.01 CAD, and this is despite having all these terrible reviews. I am one who reviews the reviews. I am one who is research based, and I will give you an approach into how I make my abstractions well beyond red trend lines that people FOMO sell. I outthink the bots. So when people get caught in a dip that triggers their sales, but they don't have a set margin for buyback, and they get completely left out on the buyback, I enjoy those moments greatly. I do. So let's go back a few years. Let's go back to roughly 2018. This is from Trent Lapinski. It's an article that he speaks on in regards to a hackathon that he was at. It's on his website called Hacker Noon. It's as titled, "The Revolution Will Be Distributed." And this is going to be as long as I feel the need for this video to be. So if you have somewhere to be, there is a pause button, or you can be where that somewhere is that you need to be. Going forward, he is the VP of solutions at his, he's new to me. This is as titled March 9th. No, it was written on March 9th, 2017. So this is going somewhere. This is far back. A little over a year ago, I found myself at a hackathon in a 3-story hacker house across the street from Ocean Beach in San Francisco. There I discovered the technical solution that has the potential to free us all from confines of today's monolithic and centralized platforms and services. In each room of the house, different groups of software engineers, visionaries, and technologists were hacking away at it, creating a next-generation holographic data storage architecture, an ecosystem of decentralized applications to prove the concept. Their mission was to create an agent-centric peer-to-peer scalable post-blockchain platform to enable decentralized application developers to solve problems such as value creation, privacy, peer-to-peer connectivity, and decentralization. Fast forward to 2018. Remember, this is like, whoa, we going distances here. Fast forward to 2018, Holochain now has an active community of developers from around the world and just launched an initial community offering last week. So, what the fuck is Holochain? Existing distributed ledger technologies powered by blockchains such as Bitcoin, Ethereum suffer from scalability issues and also consume massive amounts of energy. I agree. Technology is supposed to, it's not supposed to hurt the environment, and it shouldn't take 109 terawatts to process something. I'm sorry. And if it's drawing power from coal, that is horrible. And this is why I love Holochain. It does what blockchain and Ethereum can't do. Bitcoin and Ethereum and other blockchain projects fail to understand that we do have to be conscious of the environment around us. Going forward, Holochain is an energy-efficient post-blockchain ledger system and decentralized application platform that uses peer-to-peer networking, processing, agent-centric agreement, and consensus systems between users. The key advantage of Holochain is that every device on the network gets its own secure ledger, or Holochain, and can function independently while also interacting with all the other devices on the network for a truly decentralized edge computing solution. Holochain will enable developers to build decentralized applications for governance, collaboration, organizational tools, social networks, social media, vendor relationship management, platform. Hold on, rewind that. Okay, so social media, vendor relationship management, platform cooperatives, sharing economy apps, supply chain solutions. By the way, I love supply chain and logistics. That's just like my bread and butter. If I was not trading crypto, and if I was not an apprentice carpenter, I would happily be like a supply chain management logistics operations coordinator. Sorry, I love that stuff. That's for another video, but just had to stop that right there. So shout out to the y'all who are lucky enough to do that for a living. Continuing community resource management, as well as tokenless mutual credit cryptocurrencies and reputation systems. Yo, this is gold to my ears. Like, to find this and knowing how old this article is, I doubt anybody who owns Holochain has like really read this deep. I love it. Traditional computer systems are designed around a stack-like architecture of layering system upon system on top of each other to create monolithic systems similar to skyscrapers. See, whenever y'all hear me as a moderator say, like, yo, I can't wait for the skyscraper, now, that's where that comes from. I like that. That's where that comes from. I don't care. When you hear me say skyscraper, say, yeah, I wanted the skyscraper. Pum, 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 pum. Yeah, that's what's up. This model for data storage and transfer is old as computing and is severely outdated for the modern world. By creating an agent-centric computing architecture that can scale vertically and horizontally across a network, Holochain introduces a new model for data storage and transfer that can enable any edge device. This allows smartphones to function individually and as part of a greater peer-to-peer network without having to connect to a centralized provider. Whoa. Now imagine that next time there's political unrest or a country thinks that they can just turn off the internet, we still have each other. Ain't that something? You can cut off the internet, you can shut down the cell towers, but the people have each other. That is, you didn't know that could be a thing. How wild is that? Imagine that. See, in all my evaluations of Holochain, I haven't gotten to that point. I never really connected it to the mobility aspect of things. That's big. You tell me what the telecommunications industry is worth. Let's see what that's worth. That wasn't part of this. I got all my other research laid out, but I wasn't expecting to get that lead. So in Canada, it's a 74.5 billion industry. That's just Canada alone. What's up, Holochain? Now, if we go to globally, I'm seeing 2.2 trillion. Where is this? I like money. So yeah, Insight Research projected that telecommunications services revenue worldwide would grow from 2.2 trillion in 2015 to 2.4 trillion in 2019. That could go on, and Holochain's a participant. Holochain has that potential. We don't need nobody. We don't need nobody influential, because it's got that kind of potential. You can't hate on Holochain. Holochain enables any device to have its own chain-based ledger system. By using a holographic model for data storage and transfer, developers can now create decentralized applications that can scale in multiple dimensions across a network, ensuring they're truly distributed. So like, you might be familiar with Byzantine fault tolerance. Cool. But then when you see like, when you see when you see cryptos like Polkadot or other ones that have like the sharding feature, well, Holochain can shard too. What's up? I think there's a lot of opportunity for it, but I gotta finish this guy's article because this is a fun read. This is a fun lead. You know what I mean? You gotta read to find the leads, okay? That's how that works. This enables every device on a network to function independently and only requires the synchronization of data when necessary, agreed upon by users. This means every user is in control of their own data and never has to risk their data being sold or exposed to third parties. Like what just happened with Facebook and Cambridge Analytica. Oh, ain't that something? What's up? The benefits of using Holochain are multifold. By leveraging Holochain, developers will be able to build a new generation of decentralized applications and services that do not abuse users' privacy or destroy the environment. Holochain puts control of users' data back into the hands of users instead of mega corporations. Yo, this is beautiful. I got two more long ass paragraphs that you're gonna enjoy. Well, they're not long ass, but not everyone has my patience, so I hope you don't take offense to that. Ooh, this is juicy. This is so juicy. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Proof of service. Okay, let's go. Another fascinating component of Holochain is its capacity for support. And yo, stop. Yo, I just want you to understand the reason why I do this, like I read the article for you, is because yo, I respect that you might want to just sit there and meditate. You might be on the road and you need something stimulating. I want to help you get to the point where you're doing this for yourself and you see the value in it. Because you might not understand what I'm saying today, but I'll be damned if I speak down to you and then you don't retain some of this value. So before I go off on another tangent of how you might have been taught in the past, I'm going to try to reach to the capacity of like where I think you're at and where I think you can be and beyond. So shall we? Another fascinating component of Holochain is its capacity for supporting a wide variety of consensus or agreement systems between users. For example, Holochain can enable what is called the proof of service consensus system, where a user gets rewarded when a service is completed for another user, then gets compensated in cryptocurrency. So we're about to lead into the holofuel aspects of the mutual currency credit system. So it's not like where you get paid something like for mining and doing nothing. No, it's like you provide a service. So this is more web hosting as opposed to being a node or fork. Like you provide a service. Yeah, you know what? Let me give you some. I'm cool with that. This is the model that Holofuel is based on. And by the way, web hosting, Holofuel, come on. We're talking about a $216 billion industry once we get into 2025. Like you could look that up yourself. It's not a game, but you know what? I'm cool. If there isn't going to be a 1% of the world participating, I'm cool with being less than the 1%, because when 2 and 3% of the world decides to participate in cryptocurrencies, guess what? I'll be affixed nicely. But when the rest of the world takes it seriously, I'm with that. Crypto isn't for the boomers. Crypto's for everybody. Everybody. You can get a percentage of something. You don't need to own a whole share. And the bank you don't have to wait till the bank like realizes, oh, yo, you might be worth something for them to talk to you. Like, there's nobody sizing you up based on the color of your skin or the way you're dressed. Like in the crypto sphere, we're all Kryptonians and nobody look down on each other. We just look for opportunities to improve upon the lives we're living now. You know what I mean? So this is the model that Holofuel is based on, which is the cryptocurrency attached to the Holochain initial community offering. However, Holofuel, sorry, if I see an H and an O, I just want to say Holo. However, Holofuel is not your typical cryptocurrency. Now, why is that? Well, the idea behind it is the amount of fuel is attached to the volume of community engagement. In other words, the amount of Holofuel is associated to the services provided by developers, data hosters, and users. It isn't a coin or a traditional currency. It is a system of agreement between users not associated with a monetary value, but rather a proof of services value. So this is kind of like why I want 10 holo ports, or I want a couple servers, and not just like in one area of the country, like across the country, because I see the value in web hosting, cloud services. Again, it isn't a coin or traditional currency. It is a system of agreement between users not associated with a monetary value, but rather a proof of service value. It is a post-monetary system of community engagement, not a system of gambling or profit. I know this probably sounds complicated, but it isn't. But it really isn't. So, like, to give you a breakdown, like if you wanted to position yourself nicely, you find the developing crypto community of apps and developers, and guess what? They're gonna need to spend their money getting an enclosed ecosystem or having an efficient web hosting provider. You could be that person. You could be that person to multiple people. You determine your rate and you get paid whatever you want to get paid. And it's just you matching with your client. If I do something for you, you do something for me of equal exchange of value. In the initial use cases, by the way, I'm reading the article again, it will mostly be hosting a data transfer, but eventually could expand to a wide range of other use cases once more developers start building their own decentralized applications using Holochain. Those developers will also have the capability to develop their own unique agreement systems or smart contracts based on whatever consensus model they desire. Blockchain is the past. Whoa, that's a ballsy statement, but I hear you on that. I hear you on that one. I really do hear you on that one. So while the mainstream media might have convinced you that Bitcoin and the blockchain are the future, they are wrong. Blockchain is the past. It is a 9 to 10-year-old technology. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are based on mimicking our existing corrupt finance system. Bitcoin is a system of gambling and storing value, not a system of value creation or community engagement. Holochain enables humanity and our devices to participate in a post-monetary society that values merit, contribution, community, and service to others. It is a system designed for both data integrity and personal integrity. The future of technology should not be about connecting us to billion-dollar mega corporations and forcing us to rely on systems like Facebook that steal and monetize our data. Like, yo, let me say this. Like, yo, I am someone who got hacked, by Facebook. So I don't know if it was like an integrated ad system or something like that. But yo, I just know that Facebook does not handle your data wisely, and you'd be surprised at like how much Facebook tracks. Like, you get violated every time you go to the bank or access your banking information. Facebook knows when you go into your app. It really does creep on all your other like apps. You should really, really take a look at that. Be surprised what Facebook's telling everybody else. The future of technology should not be about connecting us to billion-dollar mega corporations and forcing us to rely on systems like Facebook that steal and monetize our data. The future of technology should not be about the future of technology should be about allowing us to connect with others in a manner in which we agree to be connected and not be subject to necessary and corrupt middlemen. Holochain is the foundational technology to help us get there. It is real, and you can download it and start building it right now. It has the potential to change everything. I didn't get paid to publish this, so if you like the article, feel free to send some Bitcoin. Yo, I rate this guy. And he's like, yo, are you a crypto punk? If so, we want you on our Crypto Disrupted podcast and YouTube channel. Yo, I rate this guy. He's done videos with the founders. You can't beat that. All right. I don't blame you for putting your wallet up there. Somebody send that guy some Bitcoin. It's real. Moving forward. I love that. He's the first person that I've come across that has touched on the notion of telecommunications being a very palpable reality for holochain development. I hadn't thought about that, and that's massive because globally 2.2 trillion, and there's market space to play in. And when you think of Canada set, I think 74.5 billion. So that could definitely go on. I like that. I think that's a thorough definition and understanding of holochain and what it is. Remember, the links are also posted below so you can do your own research. Now, when we talk about the web hosting services, you've heard me mention that quite a few times. And according to Intrado or Globe Newswire, they're not the only one to predict we're going to see a 13.5% growth in web hosting services, and that it's supposed to be a 216 billion, 0.59 billion. That's a lot of opportunity. Considering I think right now it's supposed to be 196 billion. So, the sooner you get into web hosting, the sooner you could start earning a passive income and a real income and be able to continue to leverage opportunities in non-traditional markets such as the crypto sphere and crypto investing. Now, when we get into Holochain, I do know that Arthur Brock is he has mentioned in previous videos that the App Store or the HAP Store is supposed to be dropping soon. Now, what I really like about Holochain is the aspect of it in healthcare and what that means for Holochain as a whole. Before I get into healthcare, though, remember this: healthcare is $11.9 trillion industry globally. And less than 1% of the world is participating in crypto investing. what happens when 2 to 3% of the world are in crypto investing, and Holochain has developers thoroughly compiling patient profiles, right? Like, you go to any country, the patient profile doesn't travel with the patient from healthcare provider to provider. Like, that patient jacket looks different all the time, right? And so with P2P on a secure corporate network, as far as healthcare securities and IoT, you get the advantage of scalability that you don't have with other apps, and at a fraction of the cost, right? Like, imagine having to mint somebody's patient profile. Minting of an NFT is just sort of creating a token, a one of one, or identity for that patient. Now, you create that on Ethereum and you have fluctuating gas fees. Well, if you're a nation state or country or government, you need fees to be stable. You need fees to be low. A holochain will do it at 1/10,000th of the fee. There we go. Artists. If you're an artist and you have a song, if you're an artist and you make images or graphics or sketch or edit and cut up movies, hey, guess what? Why aren't you minting? Why aren't you on OpenSea.io? These are things that, like, when you see that one day you're paying $30 to mint something, and the next day you're paying $100 to mint something, you're going to be like, yo, why isn't this cheaper? Whoa, that's the thing about blockchain. It's energy intensive. People mining it are greedy. They want a higher fee. Ethereum's set to have some kind of like confederation revolution of miners versus everybody else. I don't really understand it. I do get it. It's just like, why though? Why did we decentralize for people to try to like have their own powers? And nobody should be able to attack the system from within, but I do understand like where the greed comes from. But that's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the beast when you create systems or models specifically driven on taking money from the person. Whereas Holochain is about access and affordability. That's my vibe I've gotten from it. One sec. Okay, so there's this article, thinking outside the blocks, Holochain for distributed security and IoT healthcare. So the Internet of Things, or IoT, is an emerging and cognitive technology which connects a massive number of smart physical devices with virtual objects operating on diverse platforms through the Internet. IoT is increasingly being implemented in distributed settings, making footprints in almost every sector of our life. Unfortunately, for healthcare systems, the entities connected to the IoT networks are exposed to an unprecedented level of security threats. Relying on a huge volume of sensitive and personal data, IoT healthcare systems are facing unique challenges in protecting data security and privacy. Although blockchain is posed to be the solution in this scenario thanks to its inherent distributed ledger technology, DLT, it suffers from major setbacks of increasing storage and computation requirements with the network size. The paper proposes a holochain-based security and privacy-preserving framework for IoT healthcare systems that overcomes these challenges and is particularly suited for resource-constrained IoT scenarios. The performance and thorough security analysis demonstrate that a holochain-based IoT healthcare system is significantly better compared to blockchain and other existing systems. But you won't trust it coming from me because I don't have 30, 50, 150, a couple million thousand followers. I'm just a guy who seems to know his shit, who reviews the review videos and finds, I don't know, really constraining narrow perspectives on something that hasn't been clearly researched. Come on, man. I'm picking this from Cornell. That's the synopsis of a paper that you need to read. Cryptography and Security. Like, that was published by, a submission history is from Mohammed R.A. Kandahakar. And I apologize if I'm misspelling your name, but he's got a PhD. If you ain't got a PhD, what are you saying? Who else is on this paper? Shakila Zaman, Rizalati Khan, Faisal Tariq, Kai Kit Wang. Yo, show them some love. I appreciate y'all for this. Now, here's the thing about that now. You're like, oh, what is IoT? Well, how can I describe it? Who else has got a really good article for it? We could, you know what? I'm going to read you an article from PaloAltoNetworks.com. So, while relatively new as a discipline, the Internet of Things, IoT, has matured out of its initial stages of incubation into a clearly defined set of use cases that deliver discernible benefits to a variety of market verticals. Today, IoT tangibly solves pressing business problems across many industries. Early adopters of this technology, such as healthcare, smart cities. By the way, if you're from Toronto, remember when they're talking about building Quayside Labs, which was going to be developed by Google's parent company, Alphabet? And, you know, aside from whatever controversy and dramas that there are, remember, Holochain, boom, being mentioned with the IoT of things, and part of that business security and opportunities in smart cities. That would have been huge in the city of Toronto. Just throwing that out there. I wonder where else Alphabet was thinking about building and will also be building Google head offices. Hey, what's up, Holochain? Gang. Building management, Holochain suited for that too. Utilities, Holochain is suited for that as well. Transportation, Holochain is suited for that as well. Manufacturing, Holochain is suited for that as well. Remember, a lot of your favorite programs are all ETH based. What does Holochain do really well? Scale ETH based programs for a fraction of the cost of gas fees. This is one of the things that people don't seem to grasp. It's a grossly undervalued coin, and it's incredibly poorly reviewed. What did you just learn in the next 26 minutes? Imagine what you're about to learn in the next 25 minutes. You're going to be sitting there wondering why I'm watching something with no graphics, because I don't have time to sit through and edit stuff. I only have time to give you what you came for. So while you're doing your yoga, while you're meditating, while you're stretching, while you're folding laundry, while you're driving the car, you know what? Like, I want you to enjoy the coffee that you got in front of you and just take it in. You made a life-changing decision by choosing Holochain. So today, IoT, so utilities, transportation, and manufacturing are attesting to its many benefits. Advancements in IoT pretend business transformation. 30% of devices on enterprise networks today are IoT devices. Rich data collected from these devices provides valuable insights that aid in real-time business decision-making and accurate predictive modeling. One of the places, for example, that I thought of Holochain being of incredibly great value is basically using Holochain to identify when stock shelves need reloading. So it would improve a company's ability to staff at interval levels when shelves would need the greatest amount of service, and also in a warehouse by moving slow product to a section of the warehouse. So you would have employees only frequenting a section of the warehouse where they would need to be in accordance with the product moving at the intervals of products being within the same baskets. Like, you just streamline performance tremendously by using a product or by deving on a framework, a first layer protocol that's about to hit beta. So remember, they're about to finish alpha and they're about to get into beta. And we're still explaining what IoT is, but I have to do this before I even get onto gaming and ecosystems. You're not ready for all this, and it's frustrating because when I speak, I don't know how many people listen, and I doubt I'm going to see any likes. I doubt I'll see any subscribes, but I do this out of the sheer goodness of my heart because I really want to see Holochain succeed, and I want to see it beat out your father's bloatware. I'm sorry, I got nothing against Bitcoin and Ether, but I just think Holochain is the best thing there is for the environment, and I root for the environment. By enabling the convergence of IT and operational technology OT systems, IoT remarkably improves process automation, supply chain management, and adherence to regulatory compliance, is significantly bringing down capital expenditures and operational costs. In addition, IoT is a key enabler of digital transformation in the enterprise, with the potential to drive up workforce productivity, business efficiency, and profitability, and the overall employee experience. Like, I want to make money, but I also want my employees to enjoy what they do. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm very cognizant that my employee could probably be worth more than I am, and they might only be there simply because they enjoy doing the job they do. I see the value in IoT, and I love that that's an important aspect of it, that the overall employee experience can be enhanced. The question of security. Now, despite the many advantages, the interconnectedness of IoT presents a substantial challenge to enterprises in terms of grave security risks arising from unmonitored, unsecured devices connected to the network. Enterprise IT. Sorry, I need a glass because these are a lot of words. Now I'm teaching you how to compile research relatively quickly. We're only a half hour in. While enterprise IT teams protect standard IT devices with appropriate network security, the security risks associated with IoT devices are less well known, and securing them is often overlooked. The reason is twofold. First, standard security systems lack the ability to recognize specific types of IoT devices, their unique risk profiles, and the expected behaviors associated with them. Second, IoT devices can be deployed by any business center and not typically seen as part of IT, therefore bypassing typical IT security controls and processes such as asset management, security patching. Of course, there is perpetuated by the first reason. This is not to mention that different IoT devices use different hardware, chipsets, operating systems, and firmware, and have a longer operational lifespan than their cyber lifespan. By the very definition, IoT devices are electronic devices that sense or interact with an internal state or the external environment. This would include OT devices that monitor and control equipment or their processes. These network-connected devices are all targets for attackers and often aren't maintained by IT. Unlike computers, servers, laptops, etc., and phones that are managed by agents without proper device identification and tracking mechanisms in place, IoT devices are often relegated as unmanaged endpoints in the network and therefore left vulnerable to exploits, password-targeted attacks, and malware infiltration. Now, we're on like the one last long paragraph, okay? Bear with me. And again, this might not be for everybody, but I will ensure that the links are there and you can do your best to try to catch up. But I tend to do this at like a certain speed. If I wasn't speaking, I'd probably be done by now. So IoT security defined from the above noted vantage point, IoT security can be understood as a security strategy and protection mechanism that specifically safeguards from the possibility of cyber attacks on IoT devices that are connected to the network and purposely built for a fixed set of functionalities. Without robust security, any connected IoT device is vulnerable to getting breached, compromised, and controlled by a bad actor to ultimately steal user data and bring down systems. Network security and operational systems should be incorporating IoT security into standard practice, process, and procedure to ensure these unmanaged devices fall within the same level of visibility and control as those are managed. A cause for concern for securing IoT is that as more and more diverse types of IoT devices continue to connect to the network, there is a dramatic broadening of the attack surface. To add to this, the entire network security posture is diminished to the level of integrity and protection offered to the last secure device. Unless that device was already adequately secured, on top of that, 98% of all IoT device traffic is unencrypted, putting personal and confidential data at severe risk. In a network, endpoints are the devices that are connected to the internet, and this includes IoT devices. Every endpoint provides a potential point of entry for a bad actor to expose the network to outside risks. So as with other endpoints, IoT devices are vulnerable to intense weaponization. Infected with malware, IoT devices can be used as botnets to launch distributed denial of service, or DDoS attacks on the network the bad actor wishes to bring down. However, unlike IT devices, the vast array of hardware and operating systems for IoT devices make it impossible to protect them all in the same way. A single malware prevention agent compatible with most IT platforms does not exist. Apart from this, poor password security practices continue to fuel password-related attacks on IoT devices, and weak device and network security postures make IoT devices easy to target. A growing number of IoT devices are unpatched and run on outdated operating systems. Some of the most frequent attacks on these devices are exploits executed using techniques such as network scanning, remote code execution, command injection, and others. 41% of attacks exploit device vulnerabilities, as IT-borne attacks scan through network-connected devices and attempt to exploit known weaknesses. After compromising the first device, lateral movement is opened up to access other vulnerable devices and compromise them one by one. Besides using some of these time-tested attack tactics thought obsolete by modern IT-based malware, prevention, peer-to-peer command and control C2 communication, and self-propagating to IoT malware worms are two new attack tactics emerging on the IoT security horizon. IoT worms are in fact becoming more common than IoT botnets. Both tactics target decades-old legacy OT protocols to disrupt critical business operations in the enterprise. IoT security must protect devices and the networks they are connected to from the ever-widening spectrum of IoT security issues. So in that article, they also have an infographic available to you. Let's see if I can get to what I want. Let's see. By the way, I love how with Holochain, I love how that all the price predictions have been absolutely off, and we are well ahead of where they thought they would be. Here's the one from Open Health News. Holochain is a new technology project that huge potential for the cooperative economy. Members of the Open Co-op have been promoting the idea that the new software could potentially revolutionize both our failing democracies and our predatory capitalist economy. Since 2004, back then when we weren't quite so clear on exactly how the required information architecture should be designed, but we knew what we wanted it to do and how it should work. In 2004, I published a paper entitled Participatory Democracy Networks, which explained how I thought some new information architecture could facilitate participatory democracy worldwide. The above diagram illustrates the undemocratic nature of the need for structural changes, current power relationships. So basically what they have is you have everything centered around the business. You have the business connect to the individual to the government, and to the NGO. And everything centers back, but nothing really comes back to the individual. So everything's kind of more out than in. Whereas suddenly now it's the relationships between the government and the individual, where the individual kind of controls the relationship that they have with everyone else, as opposed to everyone else sort of just siphoning off from them. So I do like that. And this is another article I will include because it is a deep read, and I am not trying to do this to you guys, but also too, I don't know if you guys are really ready for all this. This is new to me. I am loving it. And even though it's from 2018 and I know a lot has changed, I do like the consistency that I see in what they've been able to accomplish on the roadmap and the slight differences. But realistically, the fact that they've been intently in the healthcare industry, I love it. So let's see. We know about owning and controlling your own data. That's what they want. That's what we want. And it's a fundamental idea behind Planet. So with Planet, wow. So the purpose of Planet is concept is to illustrate through a graphical user interface what it might be like to interact with a new economic system, which has been built collaboratively as an open source project. So you're hearing it from me. Remember how I was telling you guys about like the possibility of Holochain becoming its own exchange? Keep listening to it, but understand this kind of ties into why I believe Holochain has the capacity to become its own exchange and also its own minting auction house for art-based NFTs or gaming NFTs. I still haven't talked about the gaming ecosystem and its interest being gained by devs. Like imagine if something like Ubisoft used Holochain. This would be crazy. Like Rockstar Games would be done a GTA 6 one with a theme around Toronto's many distinct suburbs. Big ups to Scarborough, big up to the West End, shout out to North York, Vaughan, all of the city them. But yo, I can't tell Ubisoft or Rockstar Games to use Holochain, but I gotta get back to this. Again, what is Planet? The purpose of Planet is the concept is to illustrate through a graphical user interface what it might be like to interact with a new economic system which has been built collaboratively as an open source project. Planet would be owned and controlled by its members, giving them complete control over how it is run via proposals and votes on other members' proposals. Planet incorporates concepts such as agent-centric architecture, personal data licenses, portable reputation, alternative currencies, group management, local relevance, and delegative voting. All the same ideas we were proposing in 2004, dog. You don't hear me though. To help build participatory democracy networks. So for 12 years, Planet has remained a dream, and then we discovered Holochain. Whilst everyone has been getting very excited about the potential blockchain, we've remained skeptical for a variety of reasons. So here's our 3 reasons for being skeptical of blockchain. You cannot store all the data in the world in a blockchain. 2, the blockchain is a spectacular waste of energy that could instead be used to improve the quality of life for millions of people around the world. Just see the insane energy consumption of Bitcoin. And they link it in the article too, which you'll see linked beneath the video. If growth continues at the present pace, researchers estimate that Bitcoin mining alone would consume more power in 2020 than the entire world does today. That is disgusting. 3, a system that is designed to enable total anonymity is actually not very appropriate for building collaborative, trust-based systems and organizations. So I am loving it. You know what I mean? I am loving it. They break down again how it works, and that's what I'm here for. I'm loving it. So we can go as far as back to 2018. So how is OSB asks, how is the Hollow organization going to evolve? MS, and by the way, MS is who are we gonna attribute MS to? So OSB is Oliver Sylvester Bradley, and MS is Matthew Schutt. So Oliver Sylvester Bradley is interviewer, and Matthew Schutt is he's the big honcho. He is the man, but one of the main faces behind Hollow. I believe he's the communications officer. Like he does most of the speaking, but crazy. So what was it? The evolution of these guys. Hold on. We're gonna go through some of these questions. I will. Okay, so first question. I can imagine people worried it might slow down their computers. Is that something users will need to think about? I'm not gonna cover hollow ports right now. Sorry, I apologize. I'm skimming through this because I'm trying to shorten this as best I can because I know we're getting long and we will cross over the hour mark. So the thing I like about Hollow, in reading what I'm reading right now, is the ability to make use of computing power. So kind of like the way Uber drivers use their cars. You're not just paying somebody for them hosting the service, but also for them using their own computing power to do so. So it's only rightfully so that there be a mutual credit currency pairing where you do get paid for the use of your service and the devices that you use to incur costs to provide functionality of that service, right? It's fair. And Hollow takes a 1% or less transaction fee, so I love it. Going forward, OSB asks, I see, so Hollow has the potential to disrupt the hosting industry and divert money back to the people who join the network and host apps on their computers. But if you've invented a way to do that, why wouldn't you take more than 1%? Matthew Schutt, wow, look at this guy. The cojones on this guy. He says, we don't need it because we're distributing everything. Just like Airbnb was able to grow from 2 guys with air mattresses to a company that books more rooms than any other because they didn't have to build and own locations. We're catalyzing Like, yo, I gotta give this guy like some kind of cool movie voice, because he just like the I don't give a fuck. I'm not taking more than 1% existing assets. Instead, we've invented a really efficient accounting system, and a 1% transaction fee is our business model for Holo, and that helps subsidize the larger Holochain ecosystem. This is just the first step in a larger plan to shift how humanity works. I like it. I like it. I like it. Skimming through when they talk about how Holochain's technology works. Well, earlier in the video, I had touched about how Tron uses BitTorrent, right? And Tron actually bought BitTorrent, but then they really got at it. Like, one of the reasons why people give Tron crap is because when you go through the whitelisting and you even go through the translations in the original language, there's like, people say like a lot of the tech is lifted, but also too, Justin Sun who owns Tron, did buy BitTorrent, and we're going further before that acquisition. But from BitTorrent, you get self-healing storage, and that's via the distributed hash table. And two, from blockchain and other things, the concept of immutable, unchangeable, tamper-proof, data log, a hash chain. That's your smart contracts. I tend to notice wherever you find smart contracts, you do find a self-destruct kind of moment. And it's not a bad, self-destructing isn't bad, but it's just a validation. It's how you secure your network. So a burn is inevitable. So where I see fuel, I see fire. I see, in order to get that fire, I do see at some point, possibly down the road, option to stake based on the sheer size of the coin. So once market capacity increases, what you will get is an insane value for your coin based on some kind of burn. It's kind of like with XRP, right? It's if XRP, pays their fines, which is what's going to happen to XRP, they'll pay their fines, and then you're going to see market acceptance. And for all those people who've held their coins for as long as they've had, a burn would justify that patience, right? And that's the only way you kind of really get values, by limiting market supply. Even though in this case, Holochain doesn't need to do so, because you may as well have coins for the next 100 years, right? But there's nothing stopping somebody from buying that now. But again, everything's got a purpose. And so you also have from GitHub, the most widely used system for collaborative software, the agent-centric model, where there is no one global truth. So some of this is new to you. A lot of it's new to all of us. Don't take it personally if you don't understand something. Feel free to join us in the Discord to ask any kinds of questions. I do like that this article covers topics on holofuel, holoports, and we're going to look at the Holo organization going to evolve. Let's see, from Matthew Schutt. We're in a transition period. We didn't do anything in the normal way. We didn't give any equity to the company, to investors. We didn't even give equity to the employees. I don't have equity, for instance, because our intent is to hand over control of the resources to the community over time. We're aiming to start by using a co-budget-like process so that our community will control 1 to 3% of the revenue. There will be a learning process so the community can build up its ability to make decisions and exercise judgment about how to allocate resources towards training, UI development, security tools, etc. Over time, the plan is to increase the amount of revenue which the community controls until the community controls all of the revenue. We're also launching a trust that controls Holochain. That trust receives 50% of Holo's revenues. That will help to support Holochain and nourish the growth of the network. Basically, we've managed to hack together a funding mechanism for Holochain, despite the fact that we are completely giving Holochain away for free. Like, you guys don't get how liberating that is. So, like, here's the difference between Holochain and Cardano. Holochain is for the people. Holochain says, we're basically going to create a fund, but that fund is to give it away. It's to train and develop the skill sets to grow the network, right? It's going to go towards training, user interface. It's going to go towards development and security tools, etc. Right? And when we talk about the trust receiving 50% of Hollow's revenues, that's going to support and nourish the growth of the network, right? When we talk about Cardano and you listen to Hoskinson, I love seeing Cardano in Africa. Great. Everybody has the right to make money in Africa. But what I don't see Cardano doing is really like, I don't see Cardano, in any black communities. I don't see it in any inner city schools. But you want to be in Africa, you want to make money. So like the only kind of message I get from Cardano, and I'm not really like knocking Hoskinson. He can be in his feelings all he wants. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not looking for an answer to the question, but this is like why I'm turned off and by this product is like, you just want to make money off of Africa. And as noble as and as heartful as your intentions are, I really just think you seeing it as like the biggest economic opportunity, and rightfully so. You could also have great conviction for it, but I just don't see it. And as somebody like who lives in Toronto, I know you have an office in Toronto, and again, right, like what do I see Cardano doing and not doing? And so it's just kind of like I'm not really seeing evidence of that conviction. I just see a lot of chest thumping and opportunity to make money off of, but it's still leaving what I would say many Africans out of. Harsh assessment, I know, but I'm not here to really like I can't bullshit on a bull run. There's money to be made, so you're gonna make money with Cardano, great, but just know what I said though. I stand by what I said, and that comes from genuine experience and perspective. I don't see Cardano in any black communities, and I don't see Cardano trying to improve the presence of black people in the crypto sphere as far as fintech advancement, development, skill development, research, coding, programming, but you want to go to Africa, make money, great, but you're still leaving Africa out of Africa. All you're doing is what we would consider is some kind of form of economic colonialism. I know people didn't come here for the politics, and I'm not trying to conflate my opinion of Cardano with anyone else's perspective, but that's just how I feel. I like that Holochain is neutral in the regard that it's for everybody, and that, anybody can take it on. And I'm sure that similarly Cardano has open domain softwares and libraries, great. But I'm just saying from a standpoint, from what I see as a PR, Hoskinson might do better from having someone else be the face of his company. Nice guy, but he just kind of missed the mark with this one. I wouldn't be surprised if Cardano stock slides for a little bit based on that assessment. And if I'm wrong, you can go backtracking through whatever Cardano does, and you don't see Cardano in any black communities. So I just had to get that off my chest. So the other thing I was thinking about too was there's been one thing where people will take on the notion that as far as P2P, like does this mean it could become a dangerous a place for like extremists? And actually no, it's more of it's centered around accountability. So if you're someone who's an extremist, as Arthur Brock just made it very clear, like if you're doing bad things on the network, and I love hearing this from Arthur, it's if you're doing bad things on the network, you're still gonna get booted from the network. And when authorities get to you, guess what happens? Well, the keys on your computer are gonna, point back to everything you've ever done, and it's like there, we found an idiot. So like a lot of the people who are getting caught, it has nothing to do with Parler. It has everything to do with that user's internet activities. And like if you do something, against the law and you're posting it on the internet, or guess what? People don't have to wait till they get to your computer to figure out that you've been doing that. but it'll be the use of your computer that'll link you to all of your other nefarious online and dark web activities. So like Holochain is centered around user accountability and global consensus, especially on the network. So you're not really like safe if you're doing like you're like if you're being a good person, you're not gonna have problems. But if you're doing bad things, there's just a greater likelihood that you're gonna get booted from the network for being an idiot. So I can touch on. So there's a couple points in this next article. It's from Holochain. It's from the medium.com, and it's titled "Is Holochain a safe haven for dangerous extremists or beacon of hope for accountability?" And it's assessing risk and opportunity in light of the deplatforming of Parler and other recent events. So I do like this article from Josh Zamel, and he co-authored it with Arthur Brock, Holochain's chief architect. And I dig it because, so between you and I, like, there was a lot, like, I knew what was going to happen on the Capitol Hill before it happened, just because, like, it's pretty easy to hear what you hear, Google paraphrase what you see, and then find evidence that certain events are going to take place. So they wanted to address this, and I love how they address this in this article. There's certain subtitle topics: hollow and hollow chain, unenclosability versus anonymity, accountability and provenance, discerning signal from noise, verifiability or provenance, and then touching on Holochain enables apps and their communities to dial in their own approaches to privacy and moderation. Provenance through is not optional in Holochain apps. So I dig that. Which one do I want to read? So actually I found the one I do want to read. Let me see if I got any coffee left. And again, this is good for you to get an idea as to like how quickly I comb through research. I've made laps through my Holochain things, and the reason why I search every day is because every day I find new things, right? Like the telecommunications thing, I had no idea that was a thing. I've really been past that. One of the areas I've been thinking about ideally is interstellar encryption, just because satellite internet is becoming a new thing, and what becomes of the world 5 years from now when 5G is just too slow. But yeah, interstellar encryption via AI, machine learning, and deep learning is something I'd been really interested in as far as like its capacity for, because there's this project called CoreX, and it's nice, it's cute, it's ETH. But then when someone was mentioning it to me, I'm like, okay, it's cute, and if they're doing that and their proprietary software is to scale, well, I know, to improve rapid scaling, well, Holochain has an infinite scalability, and it would just mean easier development for me. If I was a developer, I would just use some of that to develop that, and try to like when the App Store launches and they're in and they come out of beta, for example, you could easily get your app ready to launch for beta. Like, I don't get why people are sleeping on Holochain, but again, if I saw some of these crappy review videos where they leave basically the hour of information that I just gave you out, I feel the ways too. I'm going to give you this section of this article that's co-authored by, between Josh Zamel and Arthur Brock. So it's from the portion of it is in regards to provenance, though, is not optional in Holochain apps. Even if you have a space of complete freedom where anyone can say what they want and reach a lot of people, which is too noisy in practice, but let's say your space leans in that direction, it's a feature of Holochain that at the very least you can't falsely attribute speech, and you can't alter speech once it's been spoken. Holochain at its core is a data integrity engine. All communications are immutably bound to an author and timestamp. So immutable is like a permanent thing. You can't undo it. In a world where broadcast technology is becoming even ever cheaper and deep fakes are becoming ever easier, it's essential that we develop better mechanisms to discern signal over noise, sort truth from disinformation, and to promote good acting over bad, with Holochain's emphasis on provenance and accountability while providing options for privacy and curation, all while running far more efficiently than blockchain. It's an ideal framework for the development of those mechanisms. I wonder how AI will boost that. And Holo as a distributed hosting platform that enables anyone with a web browser to use Holochain app makes the data integrity of Holochain widely available immediately. Whew, that's intense. In case you haven't been tracking its progress, the current version of Holochain is processing hundreds of thousands of gossip interactions per second for each Holochain app. That is many orders of magnitude faster than prior versions, despite being bottlenecked through a single proxy just for testing purposes. As we deploy self-selection of proxies and DHT sharding over the next month, we expect to see even more leaps in performance, and Holo is currently rolling out the first Holochain apps running on its peer hosting network on the way. Stay tuned about Holochain and Holo. Guess when that one was written? February 22nd. Wow. So like if you got the popcorn out, you must be one happy camper, because I'm confirming the things that you've heard. And you're wondering, how could this be $1 by the end of the year? Because chances are this might be the only video to validate why it'd be worth over $1 in the coming year. When you look at programs like VeChain and its deals with automotive industries, well, we demonstrated as far as IoT goes, a Holochain has that ability to do that. Let's talk about now. One thing I've been really interested in is Geo Sharding. This is something I came across a few years ago, and mind you, I only started crypto investing recently, but it was just the notion of I heard there's like basically like a new way for blockchain to replace the GPS, and it's trippy. I don't know how P2P plays a role in it, but in a way it could. But I'm not that's a little bit deeper than what I want to get into. But that's kind of where we're at with this article. I've touched on, sorry, not this article, but where I've been at, we've touched on the ability for it to do sharding, the App Store release coming soon. We've talked about reducing ETH gas fees by literally make down to 1/10,000th of what they would normally be. We talk about the upcoming swap and the possibility of a future burn of Holo fuel. Should market cap expand to the point where people see the value of holding that much Holo, they'll recognize that as far as staking goes down the future, they'll be able to generate a healthy interest return simply by holding Holo longer. I've touched on healthcare. Remember, healthcare is an $11.9 trillion global industry. Like, Holo is not missing out on that. Holo is actually poised quite nicely as far as corporate networking goes. You talk about value, like how could it hit a cent? Well, who else uses BitTorrent type software? The same people who own BitTorrent, Tron, guess what they are? 0.08 cents CAD. Like, I don't make this stuff up. Like, when I pick a winner, I pick a Kingsmaker type coin. That's what I'm about. That's who I am. I'm Big Black Crypto. Don't make any mistakes about it. Like, I call it as I see it. And I'll be really interested once I see a developer get into the Interstellar Encryption. If something like a Phil coin is priced at $80 a coin, like, it gives me great hope for what Holochain can be, because as a framework, I get Kusama vibes. You know what I mean? Like, you're not 350 CAD, you're 400 CAD, you're BNB. You know what I mean? Like, it it will be within the next like 5 years that you see someone possibly prototype an exchange off of Holochain. It's that scary. It's that good. Like, people should be minting like software off of Holochain. That's where Holofuel comes, into equation as far as being its own type of exchange fee. You know what I mean? Like, you're no longer paying 1/10 of an ETH. Now you're paying a Holofuel, hot fuel. I like it. And how do you get more? How do you get hot fuel? You're gonna have to probably stake a hot token. Like, I look at how history repeats itself. I'm somebody who studied politics. I dropped out of political science in university. It didn't appeal me because I didn't like the business model. I don't know. I have a habit of sitting in a place and being more interested in the business model. Everything around me goes quiet. I don't hear anything. You know what I mean? Like, the hands on the clock, like, I don't hear anything. I hear nothing. I just start calculating. And whether it's square footage or the number of tables or the number of bottles inside of the fridge, it's like I need, there's just, for some reason, the value of something comes to perspective. And in this case, I see Holochain as being grossly undervalued because the whole time I've been speaking, I'm pretty confident that you haven't once asked, hey, like, he mentioned about Holochain and gaming, but like, what's up with that? Well, I hope you paused at some point and went to the bathroom. You should probably pause now and go to the bathroom, and then, like, I totally understand. So, as far as the gaming industry world's value, I'm going to touch on that. I'm going to touch on, basically users posing questions. And it's kind of interesting. Somebody was like, what if you made like a World of Warcraft or a Fortnite type game like Holocraft or HoloRealm or Hollow World? That is nuts to think about, right? Because as far as Holochain goes, like, it's overdue to have its own sort of like online gaming system. You know what I mean? Just like, it's the developer's choice of whatever they want to do, but it's a gold rush. We're thinking about picking a coin that's going to make us rich, and someone's about to develop the app that's going to change the world and make themselves wealthy. There's levels to this stuff, and I think a lot of times people are thinking too small. Like, to go and take a fintech course at your local university is probably going to run you anywhere between 11 and 20K. So the moment you cross 6 figures or cross like 50K, you should probably develop some of these skill sets and get into developing. It's not a game, but it's, if you make a game, it's crazy. In 2018, the market was expected to be worth approximately 115 billion US, and the source projects that industry revenues to surpass 138 billion by 2021. So everyone's making a bag, and by 2023, it's going to be a $200 billion industry. I'm really not trying to be rude or anything, but by 2026, it's $295.63 billion. By 2026, 10.5% increase from 2021 to 2026. And what do you got to do for all this gaming though, right? Like, if you're proficient at web hosting, you could probably end up hosting a server for a lot of these esport games or servers. Like, there's tremendous opportunity for money to be made, right? Like, if you wanted to introduce Holo to the world, you could easily just host a gaming tournament and do a Holo giveaway. The winner makes this many hot. Like, you tell me where I'm wrong in my predictions, and I'm open to making amendments and being like, hey, you know what? Back on this date, I said this and I was wrong. I don't think I'm wrong in any of what I'm saying. So, in 2018, Fortnite's got, let's see, Medium talks about Fortnite clone on Holochain. What if you built a Fortnite clone on Holochain? Fortnite, we all know what that is. and it being developed by Epic Games. Love venture between the two of them. Fortnite Battle Royale became a resounding success, drawing in more than 125 million players in less than a year and earning hundreds of millions of dollars per month. You know, this question was posed by a Holo Telegram channel, suggested the possibility of a Fortnite clone using Holochain. The idea took on a life of its own among the community, hence this treatment. So there was a frenzy about this in 2017, and we're only seeing Holochain now cross over the 2 billion market cap. Crazy, right? And when we talk about gaming decentralization, that requires massive computational power to track up to 64 concurrent user locations, actions, and impacts on each other in the gaming environment on a map at millispeed per second, right? But the thing about Holochain, when we talk about a wrap, I think there might even need to be something like a Holo Fuse. And again, this is like, it hasn't been done, but you do know that Holochain through DHT has the ability to, and I'm not the chief architect, somebody else can answer this, but Holochain has, I believe, similar abilities to Arc, right? But better than Arc, where there's the use of pays users for the use of computational power, right? So you play the game, you get paid. So imagine that your kid is playing a video game. Now they're earning a token or coin that over time will hold value, and when they of age to go to university, they basically have tuition paid for. This is how the future is supposed to be. This is the benefit of cryptocurrencies and gamings. This is what Holochain does, and what other blockchain-based cryptocurrencies can't. This is why I call Holochain a digital asset and not a cryptocurrency, because it's more than just a virtual exchange in value. It is a change in life, and that is the benefit of Holochain compared to some of the other coins. Like, anything to scale can be done. And when you have industrial servers up and running, like, dedicated to, gaming developers, like when I say there's money in web hosting, remember that money in web hosting is just for web hosting alone. I'm not even getting into web hosting for the developers and for web hosting for the game players. Like, it is some real deal opportunity. But you don't hear me though. You're not ready for that. You're not ready for all this. Now let's keep going. Let me get you some more information on this gaming stuff. And I haven't even touched on the DeFi projects for Holochain. Okay, so this one is from the... No, that's... Okay, so this is Orion sharing with the community. And it's a terribly kept secret. I like what Reddit's saying this, being that a few of the community members have already figured this out. But we are officially building Orion protocol on Holochain. And they're building a meta trading platform on Holochain. So wonderful news would be an understatement, as one person says. Another person says it's actually really cool news. And this is all like how did this just get swept under the belt, baby? And they've been at this for over a year, and it's supposed to be coming out soon. They're saying we've been quite busy here at Orion, and we have some wonderful news. Ta-da-ta-da. Yeah, so real-time connectivity in all major exchanges, standardized API to exchanges, price discovery tools, staking liquidity pool, atomic swaps, enabling instant trading on Orion from users' cold wallet. So isn't that something ironic, right? These guys are building on on Holochain. People are making money off atomic swaps, stuff like that. Orion protocol is going up in value, but everyone is forgetting who's making a lot of this possible. Holochain is making a lot of this possible, and yet there's no tick in its price. You know, this isn't just an hour and 15-minute video. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just a guy with a beard. Come on, man. Come on, man. Y'all playing too many games. And like when you scroll down through it, like, yo, there's a lot of Holochain. What's up? They don't hide nothing. They say this is who we are and this is who helped us. I love it. I love it. I love it. But I really want to give y'all some holo gaming like ecosystem, some talk. Oh, and the reason why I know like building a gaming ecosystem is completely easy on Holochain is because when you know, say you wrap something like Corex and you start developing, you know, with Orion and whatever Orion needs for the ecosystem, and you attach AI to Holo, you know, you have a rapidly scaled ecosystem like that. You're making player maps quicker. You're making more intelligent and interactive, dynamic characters for these ecosystems. So I don't know how you really beat that. Yo, this is bare stuff, man. This is bare stuff. So you tell me how I'm wrong what I'm saying. Let me see if I can find a tour of the initial apps. Because this is you know, they've been in beta for a while, and you know, this is at the closure of their alpha network. So there was HoloChat, a chat backend to power multiple user interfaces. So it provided instant messaging like Telegram, multiple channel team chat like Slack, a chat forum site like Reddit, a website commenting tool like Disqus, live customer support. Then there was the App Store, app directory. The App Store is a distributed app for distributing distributed apps. I believe it's the first distributed app store. All others I'm aware of are centralized. As of now, the App Store contains a directory with names and descriptions, and will soon include ratings, views, my apologies, and various types of tagging. With the App Store, we can even make the distribution of our own software centralized system, which I think is pretty cool. Apps coming in the next release for open alpha, source chain backups, built-in file sharing, KYC ecosystem for HoloFuel hosts, apps, providers, and devs, a holochain. By the way, this article is 2019. A holochain of holochains, HCHC, for publishing apps, receiving technical feedback. And it's from the man himself. It's from Arthur Brock. See? And then there's, technical. So all of these apps can be building blocks for other apps. So I like that, right? Like, he's laying down the framework so y'all can actually participate. Like what I found growing up, when I went to computer school, I just felt like I was going to be prepared to be like, you know, help desk number one. I wanted to get into programming. I wanted to get into coding. And this is right around the time when Facebook opened an office in Toronto and had 60 positions. It was very closed off, and you're growing up in the education system. It was quite clear you're being groomed for, you know, to be an employee as opposed to having an employable skill. And what I like about this and what makes me want to go back to school is seeing that there are skill sets to be had where I can do whatever I want, and specifically developing is an app or a network is of an interest to me. So sorry, it's not COVID. My test came back negative the other day. This is just me doing some long talking. Scrambling to get you the information. I haven't even talked about who Arthur Brock is. But blockchain network Elrond to cooperate with distributed computing platform. That's old stuff. Dig it. I dig it. So remember, if blockchain wants to survive, one of the best things it can do is actually partner with somebody who can reduce the gas fees for users so they can sort of justify why I trade for you in the first place. By the way, if you wanted to get into deving, like I believe right now it's on like a Linux system. So unless you're gonna create like a virtual mirror and run Linux like that on your computer, I would just straight up encourage you to like just do it in Linux. You know what I mean? Like, and just avoid the issues. I heard they're going from Rust to Go, different languages above my pay grade, but I do enjoy learning more as things go on. People talk about a large circulation and supplies being an issue, and is it has to hit this to hit that. If you want to see it to hit that, like I trust you, hodl a little longer and you'll see it hit that. Like, it's the users dictate the burn. The more smart tracks you get involved with a lot of these Ethereum based projects, sooner or later, Hollow is gonna get caught up in a wrap and have to get burned alongside Ethereum. Or there's just natural order of smart tracks. It's just that's what happens with smart tracks. There's a self-destruct mechanism, and a validation of a network involves, in some extent, a burning or a swapping of things. It's not just going to be a cold storage event, in my opinion. But you don't want people to create a wild fluctuation in price by having everyone flock to one coin. But yeah, I'm big black crypto for a reason, baby. I'm not one for the bullshit. Like, I'm here to give you that, and they give you all the tools to like really get into developing. It's just if it's foreign to you, it's foreign to you, and it is what it is. There's a lot of people like getting into this. Yo, this is, yo, it is. I'm staring at like this 3D video game venture. I dig it. Our world together, we can create the game. Cool. Oh wow, that is stunning stuff. In-game desktop console version. I like that. I like that. Augmented reality similar to Pokemon Go, but on a much more evolved scale. Who are you? I hope you're still into this. Massive multiplayer online role-playing game, but will be nothing like any other game such as World of Warcraft or Minecraft. Now, what they're hyping up is a console desktop version that'll be similar to a sandbox and MMORPG. It's huge, huge. The one thing it will share with them is that it will be massive open world that millions and millions of players can explore and build together. I love it, man. I love it. That is a deep immersive reality in-game smartphone version. It's big, man. Like you're talking about something objects created, vehicles built, etc. can be shared and even sold on the Oasis Asset Store. Objects created on other popular platforms such as Google Blocks and Microsoft 3D Creator can also be imported and used in our world. So like, imagine building something on another 3D immersive system, and then being able to import that into a holochain reality, right? That's the power of what you can do with it, right? That's impressive. That is really impressive. I'll make sure this gets included. And I'm gonna cut it short because you know what? I can't do it all. I can't do it alone. But if you guys see other potential opportunities for use cases, hit me up with that abstraction. I'd be happy to qualify it as a possibility. But these are the possibilities that I've seen, and I'm open to being refuted. But God bless you if you think I'm wrong in any of my assumptions in regards to the future of Holochain and why I believe it to be a $231 coin by 2030. The future is bright. It's personally one that I intend to web host on. I intend to learn how to develop on. And if I can, by January, I will take a fintech course. It's not I'm not sleeping on this opportunity. It's great for what it can become. I'm not going to be hesitant on its value. I'm not like everybody else. I review the review videos. They're welcome to review me. They're welcome to review the links posted below. but they're not going to be able to say that I got this one wrong. I've just given you an hour and a half as to why it's of great value. Thank you and good day.